In the boxing world, there have been many great relationships between fighters and trainers. Some were built on discipline, some on respect, and some on shared success. There have also been powerful father and son partnerships, from Floyd Mayweather Sr. and Jr. to Danny and Angel Garcia to Nigel and Conor Benn. But few stories are as unusual, long-lasting and influential as the bond between Enzo and Joe Calzaghe. Pietro Vincenzo Enzo Calzaghe was born in Bancali, a small hamlet near Sassari on the Italian island of Sardinia, to parents Giuseppe and Victoria. At the age of 2, he moved with his family to England, growing up in Bedfordshire. While at school, he studied alongside future European heavyweight champion Joe Bugner. As a child, Enzo learned the basics of boxing from his father, not with the intention of becoming a fighter, but as a way to defend himself from bullying. When the family returned to Sardinia at the age of 13, Enzo tried his hand at football and, for a time, even played on the same team as a young Gianfranco Zola. Looking back on his early life, Enzo once reflected that where he came from, boys usually became waiters, boxers, or footballers, and that he had tried a little of everything. After completing his national service in the Italian Air Force, Enzo spent several years traveling across Europe. He earned money as a street musician, hitchhiking from city to city, often sleeping rough and living day to day. Music was not just a hobby for Enzo, it was his first serious ambition, and rhythm and timing became central to how he understood performance and discipline.
The relation of your music background and how you made Joe such a unique fighter, the way he fights him.
Basically, the music grounds is music stand B, A, B, C, D, F, G, 4, 6, 7 chords. There's billions and millions and millions of songs. They're all different. How do you work here? But boxing's like the same. You jab, cross, swing, sing, hook, uppercut.
Eventually, his journey brought him back to Britain. After arriving in Southampton, Enzo made a spontaneous decision to travel on to Cardiff. In Wales, he found work in a wimpy restaurant where he met Jackie, the woman who would become his wife. They settled in South Wales, and Enzo supported his growing family by working various jobs, including bus conductor and window salesman, while continuing to play in local bands.
We will stand side by side.
Boxing entered Enzo's life in a decisive way through his son, Joe. As a young boy, Joe began training at the Newbridge Boxing Club after experiencing bullying at school. The club was run by trainer Paul Williams, who soon invited Enzo to assist in the gym. Despite never having boxed competitively himself and having no formal coaching background, Enzo became deeply involved in Joe's development. When Joe turned 18 and Paul Williams retired, Enzo took over the gym in Newbridge. It was an unconventional decision. Many people advised Joe to leave and train under a more established professional coach. Instead, Joe chose to stay with his father, the man who had taught him his first punches and understood him better than anyone else. Joe Calzaghe turned professional in 1993. Over the next 15 years, he built one of the most remarkable records in boxing history. He retired undefeated, with 46 wins and no losses, becoming Britain's most successful world champion boxer. Joe held the WBO super middleweight title for more than a decade and later unified the division by adding the WBA, WBC, IBF, and the ring titles. His style, built around relentless work rate, speed, and adaptability, reflected Enzo's philosophy: overwhelm opponents physically and mentally over the course of a fight. Throughout his career, Joe defeated a series of elite fighters, including Chris Eubank, Mikkel Kessler, Jeff Lacey, Sakio Bika, Bernard Hopkins, and Roy Jones Jr. Each fight was approached with detailed preparation, with Enzo tailoring strategies to the opponent rather than relying on a single, rigid system. What made Enzo Calzaghe exceptional was not only his results, but the way he achieved them. He trained world champions without ever having fought professionally himself. His methods were rooted in observation, instinct, conditioning, and psychological strength. He believed boxing was as much about intelligence and rhythm as it was about power, an outlook influenced by his background in music. The Calzaghe gym in Newbridge was modest, located on an industrial estate, far from the glamour of major boxing centres. Yet it became the heart of Team Calzaghe and a symbol of loyalty, discipline, and belief. Even outside the ring, Enzo's creative nature remained present, blending his musical past with his boxing present. Beyond titles and victories, the relationship between Enzo and Joe was defined by trust. They were not only trainer and fighter, but father and son, bound by shared sacrifices and a common vision. That connection provided stability in a sport known for pressure and isolation. Enzo Calzaghe's contributions to boxing were widely recognized. He received multiple Trainer of the Year awards, including honours from the BBC and the Ring magazine, and was appointed a member of the Order of the British Empire for services to boxing.
Obviously, having 3 world champions in a small gym like Newbridge, you know, say what you want to say, but that'll never happen again.
That's right, but it's nice for your dad because he's at the side, isn't he? And you're in the ring where the glory is. And it's nice for the ones who are in the back to get it as well.
Well, if it wasn't for my dad, then I wouldn't be here today. Basically, I wouldn't have achieved what I achieved in boxing.
Enzo Calzaghe passed away in 2018, leaving behind a legacy that reached far beyond titles and statistics. For Joe, the loss was deeply personal. The man who had guided him from childhood, who had stood in his corner for every professional fight, was no longer there. Yet his lessons and philosophy remained present in everything Joe did. Today, when Joe Calzaghe is remembered as one of the greatest fighters Britain has ever produced, Enzo's influence is inseparable from that legacy. Their story stands as a rare example of how a father's guidance can shape not just a champion, but a man. Though Enzo is gone, his spirit lives on through Joe Calzaghe, undefeated in the ring and forever connected to the man who made it all possible.